Hello everyone and happy Galentine's Day. For those of you who don't know, the day before Valentine's Day is Galentine's Day, and it's a day to hang out with all of your gal pals, just have a really good time. And we're kind of doing that today, but virtually, because I'm collaborating with 5 other really amazing women on YouTube. They are also in the clean beauty space, so a lot of you will probably already be following them, but if you're not, then hopefully I'm introducing you to more people on YouTube who are talking about clean beauty and doing an amazing job at it. So I'm going to be collaborating with Alexa from Alexa Lake on YouTube, Stephanie from LifeMeetsSteph, Reagan from Reagan Hart, Kat from Naturally Beautiful Girl, and then Gabrielle from the Green Belle. And I'm going to have all of their videos linked down below, or like to their channels, as well as like their Instagram handles and stuff, so you guys can check them out too. They make really beautiful content, and yeah, I'm so excited to be collaborating with them, and we thought it would be really fun to do a Galentine's Day look. So all of us have different makeup looks today that we're doing. I sound a bit funny because I've had a cold for the past few days and I can't quite hear how loud I'm talking, so I might be screaming at you, I might be whispering, we don't know, but we're going with it today. For my look, I was super inspired by some Oscar looks that I saw, and in particularly Saoirse Ronan's look. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was a beautiful lavender eye, so I thought I would try and recreate that today. It looked pretty simple. It looked like really glowy skin, lavender eye, and some black liner, and I thought it's very romantic and would be the perfect Galentine's Day or Valentine's Day look. So how could I not do this look today? I will link photos down below, and I will also have that over on Instagram so you guys can check out what I'm kind of working from. She also got bangs, and I recently got bangs, so I felt like there's a connection there. Maybe I'm just seeing that, but I feel like when you have bangs, you have a connection to other people with bangs because they're so impossible to deal with. Let me know your styling tips in the comments down below. But I am going to be clipping them back. I also don't have any of those like very fancy clips. So I'm using these clips I used to use when I was like 11. And it was the style to have clips in your hair. And now I feel like it looks like I have little horns, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you have bangs. They are an interesting experience, I will say that. I'm loving them, but as someone who never styles my hair normally, I just let it air dry. Word to the wise, that is not possible when you have curly hair and bangs. So because I'm going to be adding a lot of color to my eye, I'm actually going to start by doing my eyes in case there's any fallout. I'm using an Aether Beauty palette that has a lot of purple tones in it, and I'm going to try and use it with some wet shadows, but the last time I used it with dry shadows, I did notice a fair amount of fallouts. So I feel like just in case I need to clean it up, it's a good idea to start with my eyes. So I'm just sculpting out my eyebrows really quick. I feel like the emphasis on this look was really the eyes. Everything else was pretty natural, so I'm not going to go crazy with drawing in my eyebrows. I'm just kind of filling in the sparser areas and trying to give it a little bit more of a shape. I feel like those look pretty even. If I'm looking down, that's because there's a mirror in front of me, or I'm referencing the photo. Okay, now just putting on a little bit of brow gel, and obviously Saoirse Ronan and I have very different coloring, but we're both pretty pale, so I think that the colors will translate really well, and this look just goes to show that so many different eye colors look very, very pretty with a purple shadow. I think it's really fun to play around with color. The only other prepping stage before I start my eyeshadow is just going to be to curl my lashes. And then I feel pretty confident that the only eyeshadow palettes that I'm really going to need are these two. So one from Aether Beauty. This is the Amethyst Crystal Gemstone palette. It has a lot of those purpley tones that I'll be using. And then the second one from Wild People, the Nudist 2 eyeshadow palette. I think I was picking up on a bit of a gray smokiness, so instead of using those like warm, chocolatey brown colors to kind of contour your eye, I'm going to be using the gray colors in this palette. But I'm extremely curious to try and play with this palette wet to see how that affects the pigment. And the shadows in here are going to be a little bit deeper than the ones that were used on Saoirse Ronan, but I think that we can make them work. And because I have like darker hair and eyebrows and such, I think these will show up a little bit better on my skin. So I'm just dampening a brush in a little bit of water and then dabbing it on a paper towel. Then I'm going to go into this first shade and kind of press it all over my eye. I'm already liking this palette so much more wet. I know this looks a little bit deep right now, but I think as we work other colors into it, it will lighten up. And so like I said, this is just kind of like a base that I'm laying down. I'm not worrying too much about the shape on my eyes. I'm going to dampen the brush a little bit again and go into a more true purple color. Lay that over top. I'm really happy, like I said, with how these are performing wet. I wasn't sure if I liked how they were acting dry. And then without dampening my brush again, I'm going to go into the lighter color and start to smoke out the edges. And use a clean brush. Now I'm going to be using my finger. I'm just going to pop into that color we had just used on the crease, and I'm going to start pressing it in the inner corner. And I like the lavender hue that this is giving, so I'm actually taking it all over my lid to sort of lighten that color up. Again, like I said, these are deeper colors than was on Saoirse's look, but we're going to make them work. Blend out. Okay, so this look is a bit warmer than I want it to be, so now I'm going to go into that Well People palette, and I'm going to take this cool gray shade and start just lightly working it into the crease. And then going to this shell color and again lightening the lid by just kind of packing it on. And using this champagne color just to keep the outer blend really light, so it sort of dissipates into nothing. So as you can see, it definitely lightened it up a little bit, and when I look straight on, it looks a little bit deeper, but when I turn to the side, it starts to kind of fade out. You sort of just get that purple haze instead of like a really pigmented punch of color. So I'm going to go back and touch up the eyes once I have my liner on, but I am going to do my liquid liner right now. And this is the part that I feel like I never look forward to. I'm using Well People's liquid liner, but I am going to take it off the brush on the back of my hand and use a separate brush because I just don't feel like I get the control with that brush that I need. So it dries pretty quick, so I'm going to work with it as fast as I can and try and do this on camera, but I might go out of focus. So her wing was clean but dramatic. I always feel like it's a better idea to start small, because once you do the other side, then you have to go back to the other side and touch up that one to make them look somewhat similar. So starting small is always a good idea. Okay, so I had to cut out some of that because you guys would have been sitting here for like 45 minutes watching me try and make them even, which they're definitely not, but they're even enough that I can live with, so that's great. I'm gonna pop on some top mascara. I'm using the Lily Lolo Original Vegan Black Mascara. It honestly didn't even look like she was wearing false eyelashes. If she was wearing like individual lashes, so it was very natural looking. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but that eyeshadow has really faded in color, so that's why I went in kind of heavy in the beginning, because I've seen that happen before, so I wanted to make sure I was left with that really pretty purple hue. Okay, let's halt on the eyes for just a second and move on to skin. Her skin was like gorgeous, luminous. I didn't really notice that when she was taking photos at the Oscars, but when I looked at her makeup artist's Instagram, which again I'll have like references to over on my Instagram, you guys can go check it out there. I'll post in my story. When I looked at her makeup artist's Instagram, they had this beautiful photo. It looked like a flash photo, and her cheeks and like brow bone were so luminous. So they definitely went for a dewy look. It just didn't translate that way as much straight on camera. But I'm gonna grab this Maya Chia highlight of the day, take a little on the back of my hand, and with kind of like a flat top brush, before putting on any foundation, I'm gonna place this in that sort of area so that I get some glow even before I add highlighter. I'm going to grab my foundation of choice, which is going to be my Grwm foundation. This is also my everyday foundation, so it's not super high coverage, so you could always amp up the coverage if you want. But I've recently been using it with this little mini Gressa brush, and I'm obsessed with the finish it gives you. It makes application really easy, and I just feel like I get so much fuller coverage from this foundation when I use a brush with it. I would normally kind of put it on the red areas of my face, like especially around my nose, but because I'm pretty dry right here from my cold, I'm actually not gonna pack it on and just gonna have a bit of a red nose. Okay, time for some concealing. I'm gonna be using a shade lighter than I would usually use all over my face. This is the Fit Glow Concealer in C2, and usually I use 2.5. But she had a very highlighted under eye area. So I'm gonna apply a generous amount of that underneath my eyes. I'm actually going to use that same brush that I used on my base just to kind of pack in the coverage, and then whatever areas I can't reach with the brush, just going to use my finger. Now taking whatever brush you like to use on your under eye, I'm going to go back into that Wild People palette, and I'm first going to take that peach color. I'm going to go all the way across, and then I'm just going to take the gray and just do the outer corner. Felt like she just had like a slight peachy tone on her bottom lash line, so that's why I'm doing this. And I can kind of wipe off those colors. This is a really great brush for the inner corner too, so I'm going to take the lightest shade in this palette, pop it into the inner corner. So she had sort of like a healthy, warm glow to her skin. It honestly looked mostly like bronzer, but I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of blush onto the apples of my cheeks just to have like a pink to blend the bronzer into, so it looks a little bit more natural. And you guys can see I'm using a really light hand because again I just kind of want a hue. And then grabbing my bronzer, this is the Wild People bronzer, and I wish I had a smaller brush, but this is kind of the only powder brush that I have, so I'm just going to be careful to kind of like target it in certain areas. So I'm going to hold the brush down by the bristles, if I can talk, and I'm just going to put it kind of where I would put blush, but sculpting with it as well. Again, her complexion was pretty natural, so I'm using a light hand with this. And a way to do that is once you've sort of placed it and sculpted it by holding, you know, closer down here, then you go over it with the big brush and just kind of blend it all in. So you guys can see it's kind of a more harsh line right now. And then I kind of free the bristles and go over it, and it starts to soften, but you still get that sculpting. I think I need a little bit more of that blush. Alright, back to that highlighter. Now this is where we're really going to highlight. So I'm taking another drop on the back of my hand here. I'm going to press this in. Can you guys see how pretty that is? I'm going to take a little bit more, place it under my brow bone. Again, so you just get that like really highlighted skin. Just looks super, super glowy. Then I'm pretty sure this will be the finishing touch. Now I didn't have quite the right lip shade, but I think this is pretty close because the color that Saoirse was wearing was sort of a nude peach brown tone, if that makes sense, which worked really well for her skin tone. But you can see I have quite red lips, partly because I was cold and they're a little bit chapped. So I'm going to use a slightly deeper tone. This is one of my favorites. I wear it a lot on an everyday basis. This is the Ritual de Fille Enchanted Lip Sheer in Narcissus. And it's sort of, again, that brownie tone. Alright, I'm going to wash up and take my bangs down and then show you guys the final look. Okay guys, identical, no, but inspired by, for sure. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it's a really pretty light way to wear color. I know it felt like we used a lot of shadows, and that's because we did, but you can definitely pare it down and just use that one Wild People palette or use that Aether Beauty palette if you have it, and play around with what works for you. I'm definitely very happy that I used the Aether palettes wet, because that helped a lot with fallout of some of the shades that I tried previously. But yeah, I'm really happy with it, so I'll zoom you guys in, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. As you can see, the skin still looks really natural, but we have a pretty healthy glow to it. The eyes just have that like smoky haze of purple. It almost looks a little bit redder on camera than it does in person. It's more lavender. Nice liner, some sculpting going on, but not too much. And yeah, so all the products that I mentioned will be linked down below, so you guys can go check them out. Also, all of the other lovely ladies who are putting together a look today will be linked down below there. It's so fun to be collaborating with them. As I mentioned before, they all have absolutely wonderful channels, so you should go check them out. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys had any other looks from the Oscars that you absolutely loved. I will be showing you guys pictures of Saoirse Ronan over on my Instagram, so you guys can kind of see what I was comparing this to, and I'll have that link down below as well. Otherwise, how fun that we had a bonus video this week. We got 2 videos. So I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday. If you're new to my channel, maybe coming from one of those other lovely ladies channels, then welcome. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you consider subscribing to see weekly videos always featuring clean green beauty. And if you're not new to my channel, as I always say, a huge thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support, and I can't wait to hear from you guys. Alright guys, I will see you next week. Bye!